Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Richard for WELSHYTECH, and today we are looking at the Frostbite from 1STPLAYER. Is it frosty or does it just bite? Let's get into it, shall we? Now, first of all, what you're going to actually see here is the unboxing part of it. You're going to see what actually comes in the box. It comes with thermal paste, does also come with all the bracketry you need. It does also come with an actual screwdriver, which I found very interesting. Now, when it comes to the actual unboxing, that's very nice. The packaging, especially for the accessories, very nicely done. Now, I want to know if it is loud or not. Well, a clip's going to show by here, showing you the 100% fan speed. Okay, so you've just heard it. Yeah, the fans aren't exactly the most quietest, but they aren't the loudest either. So let's get into the overall benchmarking, shall we? Okay, so when it comes to the actual test bench, or the system I use for testing, is my AM5 platform, so Ryzen 9 7900. It's got a Sapphire X870 motherboard. It does have 32 gigs of DDR5 from APS. It's got a 2TB Gen 5 from Kingston, Gen 4 2TB from Samsung, an RX 7800 XT. It does also have a 1200 watt platinum power supply from Enermax, as well as it's housed in the BQuad Shadowbase 800FX. So for testing, it's the exact same run of tests I do for every single AIO or CPU cooler. Cinebench, Blender Pavilion, Blender Classroom, and 3D Mark CPU test. Why? Because each test hits the CPU differently. So you're going to get different results, but me keeping it to the same test also helps with consistency, so you guys can see which one is actually the best for the overall performance. So we'll start off with 50%. Now, for Cinebench R23, the idles were 35 with a max of 87. Blender Pavilion, the idles were 35 with a max of 87. Blender Classroom, idles 35 with a max of 86. And 3D Mark CPU test, the idles were 35 with a max of 77 Celsius. The CPU power draw was high at 174 watts with a low at 166, with a CPU clocks at high at 5.4 with a low at 5 gigahertz. Now, for the 100%, exact same thing, but this time all the fans included in the case, as well as the cooler at 100% fan speed. So for Cinebench R23, the idles were down slightly by a degree, so they were 34 degrees with a max of 86. The Blender Pavilion was an idle at 34 with a max of 86. Blender Classroom, idles 34 with a max of 85, and 3D Mark CPU test, the idles are 34 with a max of 73 Celsius. Now, when it comes to the CPU power draw, the high was 175 watts with a low at 167 watts. The CPU clocks are exactly the same at 5.4 at high and 5 gigahertz at low. So what you can actually see here is an actual graph. It's going to show you how this stacks up against the competition because of the overall price point of this. It is in the budget range, so it's going to be going up against like the coolers from Thermalright. I will include other budget coolers I've actually reviewed in the past, and then also I'll include some more higher priced coolers, so you guys can get a good idea if this is actually better or if it's actually something you should buy. Now, for this installation, it's going to be a little bit more straightforward because this isn't like traditionally how you'd actually install a cooler. First of all, we'll start off with the standoffs, which is the basic installation part of the guide. Obviously, that's where the threads go to onto the back plate. Just screw these 4 down into the back plate. Okay, so that's a standoff done. Now next, what you want to do is grab this bracket. Now it has got the LGA like for Intel, it's got that mount in here, but these particular ones here are actually for AM4, but obviously it goes, or AM5, it goes this way, just like this. Now you place it down, and then you get these 4 retaining nuts, but here, as you can see, you can screw them down. Now what you want to do is place them down here, screw on all 4 sides. Then what I want you to do is get a screwdriver and just tighten the nuts down until they stop. Do not over tighten because you will damage something. Now we'll get the thermal paste. Okay, so when it comes to thermal paste testing, this is the official thermal paste I use for all my AIOs, unless of course it does come with pre-applied thermal paste, and my CPU coolers, which that still applies as well. If they come with pre-applied thermal paste, then I don't use it. I don't use the Duranot, but this is the official thermal paste I use for every cooler and AIO. So if you want to buy some of this, it'll be in the link in the description. Now, thermal paste is done. Now, what I meant by this isn't a traditional way of installing it is because, believe it or not, this is how it comes, and it's got a little door here that slides open like that, and under in those little holes by there you can actually see where it actually goes. Now, this is probably the intended way because you can't take this off without snapping it. So what I want you to do is grab it like this. Now you want to place the screen or display cable down. Now I want you to go like this now, and you'll feel it when it touches the threads. This does actually come with one included, but this is the screwdriver I've got. Now what you want to do is grab a really long screwdriver, feel the threads, and you'll start to feel it starting to turn. And all you do is continue until it fully bottoms out. And that's done. Now, I don't know if this is the intended way of doing it, but when I tried taking the fans out, it was a little bit difficult getting the fans in between here because you do have the USB 2 cable there as well. Okay, so this is a CPU fan header. Now, what you're going to do is both fans actually come with a daisy chainable connector on there. So all you want to do really is just connect these fans up together like this. Like this, like that, and then you take this end here and you plug it into this, and that's it for the fans. Now, this is a USB 2 header, and this is the connector. Now, as you can see, it says USB on it. What I want to do is grab this and take this connector and plug it into one of these USB 2 connectors, or the headers, and as for the installation, that is it. Okay then, so what are my overall thoughts on the cooler? Now, installation part of the video, it's actually a tad weird because I've never actually installed a cooler this way. Now, this slides like that, and then it's got two holes here that do go all the way down to the brackets there. Now, yes, you do need a long screwdriver, but this does come with one included, so which is quite cool. That means you haven't got to touch the fans, you haven't got to remove them or anything. That means you just install it, you apply your thermal paste to do the overall brackets, and then you just install it with the two screws, which I actually like because it's more simplistic compared to other brands out there, because usually where some users do get a little bit trumped up is where do they put the fans, you know, the connections and so forth. But as the fan's already installed and you can actually access the overall brackets to install it at the top, I think that's really, really good. It's a good idea, and I think brands should actually take from that because that's very useful, especially for the end user. Now, the thermals, they aren't the best, but they aren't the worst thermals in the world. When it comes to the actual display, it isn't an actual LCD. It's more of a digital display. So what I'll do here is put up a video showing you what it actually displays. It just displays the CPU, the power draw, the clock speed, the GPU, and that's pretty much it. Now, the software itself isn't really that complex. All it is really is just tells you what information it displays on the cooler itself. Other than that, you can't really customize it. But then again, the actual pricing of this is between the £30 and £40 mark. So considering the price point, I actually don't think that's not a bad thing. It's very basic. I do like the overall digital display. It does look okay. It does make the cooler actually look a little bit better, especially when it comes to actually looking it through the glass. So that, if that's something you actually like, then that's really up to you. But what I'm going to say is, for a budget cooler, it's up there with Thermalright, okay? It's up there with other brands. It's up there with the top brands. So it's definitely a good cooler, especially for the price point between £30 and £40. It's more the £30 to £33 to £34. It's more on that price range, which isn't actually in the price bracket of like the Peerless Assassin from Thermalright, which it's okay. I mean, this has 7 heat pipes. I like the fans. The overall installation, like I said, is fantastic. I really like the simplicity of it, and overall the packaging is also nice as well. It's quite nice to actually have something that genuinely just looks nice and performs well. Yes, it isn't the best performer, but it still performs okay. So yeah, whether you guys want to buy it or not, that is up to you. I doubt I'll be able to find a link for this, because just getting the pricing actually took me a little bit. I had to go searching through forums and so forth. So if I can get a link, I will put it down in the description. A big thank you to First Player, and I do have a case from them as well, so I will be getting to that. Sorry, things obviously with the heat wave, I became ill and stuff, so obviously things are just a little bit backlogged. I've got loads of stuff here, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I got motherboards, I've got more AIO CPU coolers from like Thermalright, MSI. I've got stuff coming from Lee, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. And big thank you to First Player. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic week and weekend ahead of you. This is Rich for WELSHYTECH. Goodbye.